Shalom, family. Want to talk to you, your brothers and sisters, Hebrew Israelites out there. I want to share this question with you. Should we be still following the laws and the sacrifices of the Hebrew scriptures, the different fasts, the festivals, the sacrifices of the goat and the lamb, and the different fasts, the Sabbath laws, and all the different rituals, the different festivals of booths and festivals of lights and Hanukkah? Should we be still observing those if we have been freed? You know, we are still imperfect humans. We know that we inherited that sin from our first parents, Adam and Eve. They rebelled against Yeshua there in the Garden of Eden. Yeshua told them not to eat from this tree of knowledge and good and bad, but he said you could eat from all the other trees, just don't touch this one over here. And that was just a test to see if they were going to obey him. And they didn't pass the test. Of course, we know that Satan was involved in that as well, but they still made a choice. They were perfect. Adam was perfect, Eve was perfect, and they could have made right decisions. Just like a computer, you could program a computer, it could come out with the right answer. But Adam and Eve, they were not computers, they were humans, but they were perfect. And so they could have chose a right decision, and Jehovah had gave them everything they needed. They had perfect life, they had perfect health, they had all the food they could have, they were in a beautiful garden. What more could they have asked for? He said you could eat from any of the trees over here, just don't touch this one. And like I said, it was just a test to see if they were going to be obedient, and they failed the test. So that's why we have sin. It's been passed down to us from generation to generation to generation, from great-grandfather to grandfather to father to son. And here we are in our imperfect state. So like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. But it also said soul for soul. So I want to share that with you, brothers and sisters. Are we supposed to still be keeping? We're not perfect, so nobody can keep the law. The law was like a curse. We had to keep it perfectly. And if you messed up, you were to be stoned to death. You would be put to death. Although Jehovah had mercy on different ones, like King David, he had mercy on him. But under the law, he could have been put to death, him and Bathsheba both. So it makes me think about this. I wanted to share this with you, brothers and sisters. Are we still under the law of Moses today, and all these different fasts and rituals and festivals and gift offerings and the lamb offerings and the goat offerings and so on and so forth? Are we still under that? Well, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, it talked about, get over to that. In the book of Isaiah, it talked about there was going to be one that was going to be a sacrifice for mankind. And you can see this here. This is in the Hebrew. But let's see if we can get an English translation of this. And let's break this down here. Let's break this down. So here we are, Isaiah chapter 53. Let's follow along in the reading here. It says, "Who has put faith in the thing heard from us? And as for the arm of Jehovah, to whom has it been revealed? He will come up like a twig before him, like a root out of parched land. No stately form does he have, nor any splendor. And when we see him, his appearance does not draw us to him. He was despised and was avoided by men, a man who was meant for pains and was familiar with sickness. It was as if his face were hidden from us. He was despised and was held him as of no account. Truly, he himself carried our sicknesses." Who is this talking about? He carried our sicknesses and he bore our pains. This is Isaiah chapter 53, y'all, in the Hebrew scriptures. "But was considered him as plagued, stricken by God and afflicted. But as he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our errors. He bore the punishment for our peace, and because of his wounds, we were healed. Like sheep, we have all wandered about. Each has turned his own way. And Jehovah has caused the error of all of us to meet up with him. He was oppressed, and he let himself be afflicted, but he would not open his mouth. He was brought like a sheep to the slaughter, like a ewe that is silent before its shearers, and he would not open his mouth. Because of restraint and judgment, he was taken away. And who will concern himself with the details of his generation? For he was cut off from the land of the living. Because of the transgression of my people, he received the stroke. And he was given a burial place with the wicked. Again, who is this talking about? This is in Isaiah. And with the rich in his death, although he had done no wrong, and there was no deception in his mouth. But it was Jehovah's will to crush him and let him become sick. If you will present his life as a guilt offering, he will see his offspring. He will prolong his days, and through him the delight of Jehovah will have success. Because of his anguish, he will see and be satisfied by means of his knowledge. The righteous one, my servant, will bring a righteous standing to many people, and their errors he will bear. For that reason, I will assign him a portion among the many, and he will apportion the spoil with the mighty, because he poured out his life even to death and was counted among the transgressors. He carried the sin of many people, and he interceded for the transgressors. So who is this talking about? He carried our sicknesses like a sheep, his life as a guilt offering, and carried the sins of many people and interceded for the transgressors. So, family, this is what we're talking about. Are we still under the Mosaic law and having to follow these sacrifices of the lambs and the goats and the fastings and the festivals to purify our sin, to purify our condition? Or was there one that had already done that, like a sheep, and gave his life? Like I said, soul for soul. Who was going to be that? Who was going to buy back what Adam lost? Adam was a perfect man. There's no perfect human on earth that could buy back what Adam did. But you know, there was. Yeshua. He came in the year 33 CE and gave his life for all of us. And so we're no longer under the laws of Moses. We're now under Yeshua's law, under a new covenant. And so, friends, we are not under those festivals and those sacrifices. We don't do that anymore. We're now under the law of Yeshua and following him. And he's coming back again. In a future video, we're going to talk about that.